What's going on, everybody? This is going to be your 2-1-Fits Browns-Bengals game preview. So the NFL season kicks off this Thursday night, but for the Cleveland Browns, it kicks off Sunday at 1 p.m. in Cleveland, Ohio versus the Cincinnati Bengals. So before we get into a few points here for the game, just get this right off the bat. The weather should be nice, 73 degrees, overcast, should be fine as far as those things go. Currently, the line is -2.5 Cincinnati, so we'll see how much that changes leading up to Sunday. But there are a couple key things that I feel like are very important heading into this game for both teams. I think for the Browns especially, and the Bengals is obviously Joe Burrow. So, we'll see with that. But Denzel Ward is questionable with a concussion. He is practicing Friday and is expected to play in the game. But for the Browns, this is a really, really big deal because the Cincinnati Bengals, if they're going to beat you, they will beat you throwing the football. T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Jamar Chase, that wide receiver core is one of, if not the best in the NFL. And historically, your Cleveland Browns have been one of, if not the best team facing that wide receiver core. Because when you have Denzel Ward, Greg Newsome, and now Martin Emerson, three guys that can go toe-to-toe with all three of the receivers of the Bengals, it kind of limits what they can do. And that's a great thing, yes, but Denzel Ward being questionable, and he's expected to play, but how much will he play is the big question here. And if he cannot play a significant amount of snaps, you're really going to be relying on Mike Ford, Cam Mitchell, the guy that we signed from the Chiefs, to come in and really have a hard job right off the bat week one. So I think Denzel Ward, his injury status with his concussion, how much he'll play is very, very important for the Browns side of things. For the Bengals, Joe Burrow is the biggest question mark because thank God he didn't tear an ACL, he didn't tear an Achilles, anything like that. But that injury looked very, very bad and ended up being a strained calf. Now, that is an injury that no matter how well he feels, I feel like that's going to affect him throughout the course of the season. And for Joe Burrow, week one, you're facing a Browns defense that is completely different and reloaded from what he has seen in the past. The Bengals are 1-4 when allowing 4+ sacks. And week 8 last year against the Cincinnati Bengals, the Browns sacked Joe Burrow 5 times. And now this defensive line is that much more improved. So for Joe Burrow, this is going to be the biggest test as far as right off the bat, because as well as Cincinnati has done bringing in pieces in the offseason, they added Orlando Brown Jr. at the left tackle spot. Jonah Williams goes over to right tackle for this matchup. This is going to be a big test. It's going to be a big test because for the Browns, my number one key to this game, attack and pressure Joe Burrow. See how he's feeling. See if you can get him uncomfortable early. Because when you have Myles Garrett, Zadarius Smith, Dalvin Tomlinson, and the guys that we have as far as even in rotation with Okoronkwo and the ability to get pressure in multiple different ways, and having a guy like Shelby Harris, who is a veteran opposite of Dalvin Tomlinson, is going to be really, really interesting. I know on the depth chart, I think it says Jordan Elliott is starting. I don't believe that. We'll see. But that's the biggest thing here. If the Browns can get pressure, they will win this game. The secondary will be fine. Juan Thornhill at free safety is a massive upgrade. Grant Delpit playing in the spot that he always should have been at strong safety. I just trust what we're doing here defensively. I really, really do. And I think for the Browns, the defense is going to be the story of this game for us. I think you have got to get pressure. I think you've got to test Joe Burrow and just see where he's at and go from there. Because if the Bengals are in a really tough spot, especially on that offensive line, if they cannot keep the pressure, that's going to put their backs against the wall early. And I think you have to start off attacking, attacking, attacking. So for the Browns, that's my most important thing, in my opinion, that I think they have to do to win this football game. Offensively, I think just get Deshaun Watson in rhythm, right? Get Deshaun Watson in rhythm. He looks like a completely different quarterback than what we've seen last year. And I think that comes with a lot of different things. You got to find ways to get this offense flowing. And getting Nick Chubb involved is obviously how the Browns have made their money over the last few years since he's been a member of the Cleveland Browns. But I think Kevin Stefanski's got to get creative. I think get Deshaun some easy, quick throws in the opening drive, get him comfortable, and see if he can get his confidence back. Because so far, we have seen him look a hell of a lot more confident in the preseason and what he's done, as far as camp and all those kind of things. But in a real game, in a real NFL week one matchup, division rivals, the Battle of Ohio, you got to get Deshaun comfortable early. And I think the biggest factor in that is going to be Elijah Moore, because Elijah Moore is your chess piece that you can use all over the field. And if I'm Kevin Stefanski, I'm establishing that fact early, that we don't just have Nick Chubb, we don't just have Amari Cooper, we now have a guy and Elijah Moore that we can use all over the place. And I would personally love to see Elijah Moore get involved a lot and early. Now, obviously, Nick Chubb is your go-to. You got to keep him involved. If you're going to win football games, Nick Chubb has got to be a big part of that. But I think Kevin Stefanski has an interesting job ahead of him week one. Game planning against the Bengals is going to be interesting because that Cincinnati secondary is not great. It's one of their weakest. It is probably the weakest spot on their team. Chidobe Awuzie is coming off of a torn ACL that he got week 8 last year against the Browns. So who knows? Who knows where their secondary is going to be at? They lost a lot of people. It's very young. It's very inexperienced. And I think the Browns have to attack that. And I think that would be a great way to start the season if you are Deshaun Watson. Being able to attack deep, being able to find connections deep, I think that's very, very important. So, with that being said, I do feel very, very confident that the Cleveland Browns are going to win this football game. I know the Bengals are a tough matchup, and the NFL as a whole thinks of the Bengals very, very highly. But if you're a Cleveland Browns fan, we have had their number. And I feel like this is an interesting one because Joe Burrow's never lost a season opener, I should say. And for the Browns, we know we've struggled, but at the same time, the Browns are 5-1 in the last 6 matchups versus the Bengals. So a lot is on the line here. I think it's very important for the Browns to win this game because you got the Pittsburgh Steelers in week 2. And if you can start off 2-0 in the division, that would be absolutely fantastic. So with that being said, let me know your thoughts, and we will see you in the next one.